Today I'm sitting down with Heather Currie from Danson Dressage. From breeding foals to producing competition horses, Heather shares her passion for horses, the moments that have defined her career and the journey that brought her to where she is today. How did horses first come into your life?
Basically, I was absolutely horse mad from the moment I can remember being able to crawl. I remember all I wanted to do was draw horses, to be near horses, and I was infatuated by horses. My bedroom when I was a young girl, I had a big horse mural. It was just really, that's all, I was obsessed with it. I don't know where it came from, but completely
Your parents
obsessed.
weren't horsey or anything, were they?
No, we bought a property and across the road there was a massive paddock full of horses, and I remember my dad talking and telling this story to many people over the years that he said he saw this white flash, this white horse galloping across the paddock, and he goes, and someone was on the back of it. And that was me. So I used to go over and get on these horses bareback, and, you know, I just loved it.
Yep.
Absolutely obsessed.
How did it all grow from those early days
Yeah.
into what it is today?
So from the early days, obviously I was obsessed with the horses, and all I wanted to do was ride horses. You couldn't keep me in school. I used to actually sneak out of school and go to the stables, and I'd be on the back of my horse. For me, it was just a no-brainer that I was going to be doing something with horses. Very early on, realised that I could get the horses going very well on the flat, and I actually really enjoyed making the horses go in a nice way, and that was evident early on. From that, I started to get people saying, you know, can you help me with my horse? My parents actually bought me a off-the-track thoroughbred. It was a nice horse, and I trained him up, and I put a lot of work and effort into him, and I ended up selling him for, back then, which was a long time ago, I'm not going to give my age away, for $3,000, and that bought me my first car. In my early teenage years, I thought, if I can make horses and make them good, people want them. And so that's where it came from.
Yeah.
So I started to train horses, get them up to a good standard, sell them, and I'd reinvest in better quality horses. It went like this until I was making horses well into my business. Honduras horse, for instance, trained him up, won an Australian national championship on him. I then sold him. He built my indoor stadium, and I call that the Honduras Indoor Arena. It was a recognition for them that they helped build and create this, and through my career, unfortunately, I had to sell these horses to make a living and to be able to create a business. Often I didn't fully fulfil where we could have gone with our career with that individual horse, but they went on to be successful with other people, and that gave me a lot of satisfaction.
What do you think it is about your horses that makes them so successful?
I think just really, to be honest, no matter how good the foal is, the placement, where they land.
Yeah.
And it's trying to get them into the best possible homes, that they get the best chance to be successful horses and have a successful career. And that has a lot to do with who gets them and who produces them.
Yeah.
And it's hard, you know, in early days, you know, I was trying to survive. So it's hard to, you know, really screen how can you do that so well. And I think the years I've been able to fine tune that, and I think a lot of the horses that I'm breeding are going to, you know, super homes, and not only try and produce them well under the saddle and are getting amazing results. Like you said, we're getting results seen now all over Australia, but cared for, because I'm a big animal lover myself, and want to see is what I want to.
With their 7 dogs.
Riding a lot of the mares, knowing what their characters are like. Mares are a massive part of what you breed and the foals. You know, in the early days, my stallions were also the stallions I bred. I competed on personally myself. They had to cope with pressure, competition, breeding. They had to do it all. And often if they're showing that character in the competition arena, you know, that's often a good sign that they're going to breed that on. For instance, when I sold Honduras and I got the money for him, and he was actually, I didn't breed him, he was a frozen semen Hofrat, and I thought, what can I breed that will recreate something similar to his bloodline? So I bred to a stallion called Hotline, and I bred it to one of my Donna Blitz mares. It was a stallion that I produced up to Grand Prix and bred a lot of good horses from Donna Blitz, horses that got on the national talent squad, etc. in dressage. You know, they were quite dominant, and that was the classic Donna Hull line. So I used the Donna Blitz mare, and I used the Hotline Seaman, and that horse just won the runner-up Canberra Royal Show Hunter. That was that foal, and that came from that history. There's always a history. All the foals, there's a story behind who their mother was, why I chose that sire, and what significance. I didn't just go, I'm going to pick that one today because no. There's always a reason behind why I'm going to be breeding that foal.
For people who haven't been involved in breeding, what do you think would surprise them the most about the process?
I mean, look, you know, if anyone says it's easy, they're kidding themselves. I mean, there's so much that goes to it. There's so much work behind that healthy foal on the ground. There's a lot that's gone into that to get it to that stage, and then to get it to the stage where it's a handleable weanling that will load on the float that people can then take and, you know, sort of handle and go on to their new home successfully. You know, it's a real process, and it's really getting other professionals involved that can fine-tune it all and do a good job. And that's all through the nutrition, for getting their feet trimmed, their handling. From their birthing, I birth all the foals myself. I actually really love doing it, and that connects me to the foals. And then when I see the foals in later years going out and having great success, you know, I birthed that foal, I bring it into the world, I made sure it was okay. So, you know, I enjoy that process too. I love walking out here, and in the evenings I walk and have a look at the young horses in the paddocks, and I just watch them grow, and I think of their future and, you know, what their future may hold. And there's a lot to go into it. It's expensive, and these days, to be honest, with how much it costs to produce the foals, I'm doing it more for now, I must say, because I love and have a passion for it.
A lot of the horses you're competing are ones you've bred yourself. What is it like producing and riding those horses through the levels?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's the ultimate, isn't it? I mean, you know, a horse that comes to mind that I bred is Dusseldorf. I bred him as a foal. I trained him up. He was a state championship winner at every level. I used to travel around Australia with him, and I did my first Grand Prix on him. I did my first Grand Prix CDI, did my first Grand Prix Special. That was a horse that I birthed.
Yep.
So obviously that's really special.
Yeah.
And a lot of some of the other horses that a couple have been on the national talent squad in dressage. Interesting. I have a feel about a horse, and I'm a big one that I'll pick one out and go, no, I'm going to grow that out. I'm going to keep that. I'm going to see how that develops. And I look for certain things. So, and as a rider, and you know, someone that's produced quite a few horses to a high level, I look for a certain thing of an individual, of a horse that I think can make that process.
Working with horses always comes with its risks. Has that changed the way you've approached them at all?
I had, you know, like a really bad accident a few years ago. I had a stallion, and he was really, I loved him so much, and he's my best friend, and he would jump in a hole for me. He would do anything for me. I trusted him so much. And he was a Grand Prix horse. I was competing actively Grand Prix all over Australia on him. Long story short, testosterone got the better of him, and he went over the top of me. I was leading him. I wasn't even riding him. I was just leading him to the arena.
Yeah.
But I was badly injured, and I was in hospital for quite a long time and had a lot of rehab. I remember when I was in hospital, the psychologist kept coming into my room. She said, you know, we want to talk to you about what's happened. You know, you've been badly injured by something you love and you work with every day. And I said to her, I don't need to talk to you. I said, I know the risks. I mean, I do this for a living. I've done it my whole life. And may I say this, I never blamed that stallion, never. It was just, I took my eyes off the prize. I should have been aware that he was getting stimulated by a mare that was close. It was not his fault. After I wouldn't talk to the psychologist, and I obviously tried to get back on the horse's way quicker than I was supposed to and things like that. It wasn't until about 12 months later, I started having nightmares. Started to think, because it was painful, my injury, and I started to think of what could happen if that horse jumped that side and I'd come off and my foot got caught in the stirrup. It started to get in my head, and I remember it had to be mind over matter. Otherwise, you wouldn't want to ride a horse again. It affected me more than I probably realised. Even physically now, when I ride, I don't have control over my right side like I used to.
Yeah.
Even though I think I'm sitting perfectly still, I'm actually not on the right side, and I can't help it. It's an injury, but I love it so much. I won't stop.
Yeah.
So yeah.
When you're looking at a young horse, what are the things you really like to see? So I feel like this is one that a lot of us will go out looking for horses.
Yeah.
You know, you hope that you find the right one. But are there things that you look at in particular
100%.
that you go, that is a quality dressage horse?
100%. Yeah. So what I look for is a horse with 3 pure gaits. Walk, trot, canter. Don't have to be spectacular. They have to be pure gaits. The other thing is very important, and it's come through now, and I've seen it over many years. I've watched the young horses, you know, be developed, is their character. And often they'll show you that in the paddock. They'll show you that when you start handling them. You know, something that's not scared of everything, something that's inquisitive. You know, I look for character with a horse. And obviously, you know, the type of horse. It doesn't have to be the perfect horse. That's what people got to understand too. There's no such thing.
Is there a horse you've bred that really stands out to you?
I suppose, you know, I've always got I had a very, very big soft spot for Dusseldorf. You know, he got me really on the map as far as, you know, made my first Grand Prix horse at a young age. He was like my best friend. Well, to be honest, my first Grand Prix horse I made I was 19, and he was a coloured stallion called Waveney Picasso, and Clemens Dirks helped me train him there. Dusseldorf was the next one after that, and you know, I birthed him and did everything with him. It was special. Yeah. Was he a big, fantastic winning Grand Prix horse? No, but God, he was an amazing horse. You know, I've had a lot of, you know, great horses over the years, you know, good horses. I haven't necessarily bred all of them, but produced them through. And, you know, they've been, you know, very competitive, good horses. So.
Yeah. A lot of your horses have gone to new homes and are now out competing and winning. What is it like for you seeing them and do well with other riders?
So the greatest joy. I mean, for me, it's just like winning a gold medal every time. I mean, the joy I get to see that, and I'm their biggest cheer squad, because that's what I want to see, and that's what it's all about. It's really, really special. I can't, and it's addictive, and it's the ultimate.